Right. So we've got this pile of travel blogs and YouTube videos, and it looks like we're going deep on affordable family vacations.
Mm.
But not just like, the cheapest bare bones trips out there.
Right.
It seems like everyone's looking for those little luxury touches, even on a budget.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's interesting. What really stands out from these sources is this idea that you can have both, right?
Yep. Like luxury doesn't have to mean breaking the bank.
Exactly. It's about getting the most bang for your buck and those little extras that make a vacation feel special.
So, where are we even going on these affordable adventures? Looks like we've got, like, destinations all over the place.
Yeah. Everywhere from tropical beaches, think Cancun, Bali, to bustling cities like Amsterdam, Tokyo, even Halifax popped up a few times.
Halifax. Now, that's one I haven't really thought about
Yeah,
before.
Halifax is kind of like a hidden gem on Canada's east coast,
Oh, okay.
known for its maritime history. But what's surprising is how family-friendly it seems to be. Yeah. A lot of the sources highlight its walkable waterfront, and get this, tons of playgrounds. It's like a city designed for kids and parents who, want to have a good time too.
That sounds perfect. And for families looking for adventure, we've got the Swiss Alps and the Canadian Rockies.
Yes. Always a classic choice.
I'm already feeling that fresh mountain air. Okay, but one thing that kept popping up in all these sources were all-inclusive resorts.
Yeah, definitely a popular option.
For sure. But I gotta admit, when I hear all-inclusive, my mind goes straight to, like, those massive beach resorts with endless buffets.
Right, right.
Is that what we're talking about here?
I mean, some are like that, but what's interesting is this trend towards all-inclusives that offer more than just, the typical beach vacation.
Oh, okay.
Like, take Sea Lazy U Ranch in Colorado. It's all about horseback riding, fly fishing, even skiing in the winter.
Oh, wow.
And Rocking Horse Ranch in New York, tons of activities there too, zip lining, horseback riding, perfect for families with little cowboys and cowgirls.
So it's not just sitting on the beach all day.
Exactly. There's something for everyone.
Horseback riding in the Rockies, that sounds incredible. And I love that Rocking Horse Ranches in the Hudson Valley makes it a bit more accessible for families on the East Coast.
Definitely.
But, okay, for those of us who crave a little beach time, Sandpiper Bay in Florida seems to fit the bill.
Yeah, and it's highlighted for its affordability, which is always a plus.
Right. And then there's Tyler Place Family Resort in Vermont. This one caught my eye because it's been around forever, like over 85 years.
Wow.
Yeah. And they even offered childcare so parents can actually, relax and enjoy some alone time.
Now that's a real vacation.
Okay, so we've got ranches, beaches, mountains, but what about cities? I feel like people might think cities aren't great for kids, but these sources seem to disagree.
Cities can be surprisingly kid-friendly if you know where to look.
Okay.
Like Mexico City, often overlooked as a family destination, but the sources highlight its abundance of parks, playgrounds, even dog parks.
Dog parks in Mexico City.
Yeah. Which, can be great if you have kids who love animals.
That's so cool. Never would have thought of that.
And it's not just about open spaces. Tokyo, with its mix of modern and traditional, also gets high marks for safety and, get this, super efficient public transportation.
Oh, wow.
So you could be exploring ancient temples one day and then, diving into that vibrant pop culture scene the next.
That sounds amazing. And for those on a budget, a Japan Rail Pass can really make it affordable to see the whole country.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm adding Tokyo to my travel bucket list for sure.
And of course, we can't forget Amsterdam.
Yeah, always a popular choice.
Super walkable, bike-friendly.
Yeah.
Imagine cruising those canals, stopping for picnics, exploring all those cool museums.
Yeah, it sounds like a completely different experience than, say, a theme park vacation.
Exactly. It's about immersing yourself in the local culture and making those, authentic travel memories.
Love it. But let's be real for a second. Traveling with kids comes with its own set of challenges, right? What did the sources have to say about that?
Well, packing smart was a big one.
Yeah, for sure.
Like making sure you have all the essentials, those familiar snacks to avoid meltdowns, a first aid kit for those inevitable bumps and bruises.
Right, right. And thinking about your accommodations, too.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Making sure they really cater to families, checking for things like cribs, high chairs, stuff like that.
For sure, for sure. And I noticed stroller accessibility was a recurring theme, especially in cities.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I guess cobblestone streets and uneven sidewalks aren't exactly stroller-friendly.
Not always. If you're heading somewhere like Halifax or Mexico City, you'll want a stroller with good suspension, those big all-terrain wheels.
Good tip. And on a more serious note, I saw a lot about safety, especially in destinations like Singapore, Iceland, New Zealand.
Yeah, safety is always a top priority.
Knowing that you're in a safe environment just lets you relax and enjoy the trip. Absolutely.
Yeah,
It's all about being informed and prepared. But let's be honest, things don't always go perfectly, especially with kids.
that's so true.
So managing those expectations is key.
Right.
Things will go wrong, schedules get disrupted, meltdowns might
But
happen.
they definitely will.
But, it's all part of the adventure, right?
Exactly. You got to embrace those unexpected moments.
Oh, sure.
Okay, so besides the fact that affordable family vacations are possible and can be amazing, what are some key takeaways to help our listeners make the best decision for their family?
One thing that really jumped out at me was this shift from like purely tourist attractions to experiences that are more tailored to families.
Oh, interesting.
It's not just about seeing the sights, but about finding activities that everyone will actually enjoy.
So it's really about thinking about your family's dynamics, interests, and of course,
Yeah.
budget.
Absolutely. And, one thing that really stood out was this emphasis on nature. More and more families seem to be seeking out destinations that offer, like hiking, exploring national parks, just being outdoors.
Oh, I've totally noticed that trend too. It's
Yeah.
like we're rediscovering those simple joys of connecting with nature.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be this big wilderness adventure. Even just a day trip to a local park or like a hike in the mountains can make a difference.
For sure. So it's about finding those pockets of nature wherever they may be.
Exactly. Whether it's a city park, a botanical garden, a sprawling national park.
And ultimately creating those special family moments.
That's what it's all about. So for our listeners out there, as you start planning your next family adventure, think about what really matters to your family.
Yeah. What are your shared interests? What kind of pace works for everyone?
Exactly. And how can you blend those must-see sites with experiences that'll actually create lasting memories?
And hey, don't be afraid to think outside the box. Maybe it's a road trip to a national park, a city break with museums and parks, or a stay at one of those unique, all-inclusive resorts.
The possibilities are endless. Use this deep dive as inspiration, do your research, and most importantly, have fun planning your next family adventure.
Exactly.
Okay, so before we get into like the nitty-gritty of packing and budgeting and all that,
Yeah.
I want to talk about something fun.
Okay.
Like those specific experiences that really make a vacation memorable.
I love that. Let's dive into those. Like, what were some of the highlights that stood out from the sources?
Well, for families with music lovers, Disney's All-Star Music Resort in Florida seems like a real hit.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of that one.
Imagine like sleeping in a music-themed room.
Sleeping in a giant guitar.
Maybe? Talk about a fun and whimsical experience.
I'm there. What else?
Horseback riding was mentioned a lot.
Oh, nice.
And not just at those ranches we talked about earlier. Seems like there are options for trail rides in all sorts of destinations.
Oh, wow.
From the mountains to the beach.
I can already picture those family trail rides making memories, you know?
Yeah, exactly. But, okay, what about something a bit more historical?
Okay.
The Titanic exhibit at Halifax's Maritime Museum sounds really cool.
Oh, yeah.
You can learn about the ship and its connection to Halifax, which played a big role in the aftermath of the tragedy.
See, Halifax is full of surprises.
Right. But, I'm also drawn to those ancient cultures, like the Mayans.
So?
Exploring Mayan ruins near Cancun, that's definitely a must-do.
Oh, yeah, like stepping back in time.
Walking among those ancient pyramids and temples.
Amazing. Okay, so we've got history, adventure. What about some relaxation?
Ah, yes. Relaxation. Natural hot springs were mentioned quite a bit.
Oh, nice.
From Bali to the Canadian Rockies, soaking in those healing waters.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
A perfect way to unwind after all that exploring.
Right. But, okay, let's be real. Vacations can get expensive, especially with the whole family in tow.
Definitely.
Any tips from the sources on keeping costs down?
Planning ahead is key, like booking flights and accommodations in advance,
Right, that makes sense.
especially if you're traveling during peak season.
Yeah, that can really add up. What about traveling during the, shoulder season?
Oh, good point. Yeah, shoulder season is a great option.
For those who might not know, can you explain what that means?
Yeah, so shoulder season is like the time just before or after peak season.
Okay.
You often get good weather, fewer crowds, and of course, better prices.
It's like a sweet spot for travel.
Exactly. Less crowded destinations and more money for souvenirs.
Sounds like a win-win. But what if, even with those shoulder season deals, it's still a bit pricey?
Well, there are always alternative accommodations.
Like what?
Vacation rentals can be a good option, more space and flexibility, which is great for families. especially with younger kids.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And don't rule out hostels.
Hostels? I'm thinking those like dorm-style rooms for my backpacking days.
Uh-huh, yeah. But things have changed. Many hostels now offer private family rooms.
Oh, right.
They're budget-friendly and, often have a more social vibe.
Okay, so you're saying hostels aren't just for backpackers anymore?
Definitely not. They can be a great option for families.
Interesting. But what about all-inclusive resorts? Aren't those a good way to manage costs with meals and activities all included?
They can be, but it's important to compare prices and do your research.
Okay.
Sometimes a well-planned, independent trip where you mix and match accommodations and stuff
Yeah,
can actually be more cost-effective.
that's a good point. And sometimes those free activities are the best anyway.
Right. Like visiting parks, exploring local markets, those authentic experiences.
Absolutely. Okay, let's shift gears a bit and talk packing.
Okay, sure.
No matter where you're going, beach vacation or exploring Tokyo, packing light and smart is essential, right?
Definitely. Essentials like those familiar snacks.
Yeah, gotta avoid those meltdowns.
A well-stocked first aid kit, comfortable walking shoes.
So important. And layers, layers, layers.
Right. Weather can be unpredictable, even in those tropical destinations.
You don't want to be caught shivering in paradise. Okay, but beyond clothes and necessities, what about entertainment for the kids?
Ah, yes. Entertainment. Packing a few favorite books, travel-sized games, maybe even a portable device loaded with movies and shows.
I mean, a little screen time can be a lifesaver on those long flights and road trips.
Definitely. Especially for those younger travelers.
So true. Okay, while we're talking travel essentials, what about transportation once you arrive?
Ah, yes. Transportation. Choosing the right option is key.
For sure.
If you're renting a car, make sure it's equipped with appropriate car seats.
Oh, yeah, that's crucial.
And do your research on the local driving laws, just to be safe.
Good point. And for those who prefer to skip the rental car, what about public transportation?
Public transportation can be fantastic, especially in cities with well-developed systems.
Yeah, like Tokyo.
Exactly.
Right.
Do your research beforehand, check for family-friendly options, like discounted fares for children or those special passes that offer unlimited travel.
Okay, that's good to know. And hey, sometimes walking is the best way to explore.
Right. You discover all those hidden gems that you might miss otherwise.
And you get some exercise too.
Exactly. Slow down, take in the sights and sounds. It's all about that immersive travel experience.
I love that. Okay, so we've covered destinations, activities, budget tips, packing, even transportation.
Yeah, quite a lot.
But I think it's important to reiterate one key point. What really makes a family vacation special isn't just the place or the things you do, it's the time you spend together.
Absolutely. Creating those shared experiences, the laughter, the conversations, the memories that will last a lifetime.
So true. But let's be real for a minute. Traveling with kids of different ages, that comes with its own set of challenges, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Each stage brings its own unique considerations.
Like what about those tiny travelers, the babies? Any tips for making things smoother for both parents and their little ones?
Yeah, traveling with babies can seem daunting, but it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, okay.
Planning and packing wisely is key. Make sure you have all those essentials: diapers, wipes, formula or breast milk, whatever your baby needs.
And a comfortable carrier or stroller?
Yes, a lifesaver for navigating airports, crowded streets, those uneven sidewalks we talked about earlier.
It's all about anticipating those needs and making things comfortable for everyone.
Right. And then you have the toddlers, bundles of energy and curiosity.
Oh, yeah, Tyler.
Any advice on managing those tantrums and keeping them entertained on the go?
That's the million-dollar question.
Packing a variety of toys, books, snacks, that's always a good start.
Okay.
And, a little screen time can be helpful.
Oh, yeah, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
A favorite movie or TV show can really save the day.
For sure. And choosing activities that are actually toddler-friendly.
Yes. Parks, playgrounds, zoos, those interactive museums.
Places where they can run around and, be kids.
Exactly. And remember, toddlers have short attention spans.
Oh, yeah, they do.
So plan for frequent breaks and be prepared to adjust your itinerary as needed.
Flexibility is key with toddlers. Okay, what about school-aged children? They're a bit more independent, but still need guidance, right?
Yeah, definitely. And they have their own interests.
For sure, for sure. How can we make sure they have a memorable and engaging experience?
A good tip is to actually involve them in the planning process.
Oh, I like that.
Ask them what they're interested in seeing and doing Let them have a say in choosing activities.
It's about empowering them to be active participants in the trip.
Exactly. And when you're choosing those activities, consider their interests and abilities.
Right.
Older children might enjoy museums, historical sites, maybe even some adventure activities like hiking or ziplining.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. But, don't forget about downtime.
Definitely.
They still need time to relax and recharge, so make sure to include some unstructured time in the itinerary.
For sure. Time to play, read, just hang out.
Okay, we've covered babies, toddlers, school-age children. Now let's talk about the teenagers.
Ah, yes, the teenagers.
A unique breed for sure, often with a desire to be anywhere, BUT, with their families.
Ah, so true.
Any advice on engaging teens and making sure they have a positive experience?
Choosing destinations that offer things that appeal to them.
Like what?
Adventure sports, concerts, shopping.
Okay, so it's about meeting them where they are.
Exactly. Find those common interests that can bridge the generational gap.
And maybe give them some space too.
Yeah, teens often appreciate having some time to explore on their own or, connect with friends back home.
It's about finding that balance between family time and independence.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of technology.
Oh, yeah, that's huge for teenagers.
Maybe it's letting them document the trip on social media, researching points of interest, or using those travel apps.
Make it relevant to their world.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about all the different ages, from babies to teenagers.
It's a lot to consider.
Yeah, but the key takeaway here is that there's no one-size-fits-all approach. What works for one family might not work for another. It's all about finding what works best for your family.
And creating a vacation that's both fun and meaningful for everyone.
Exactly. And, the planning process is just as much a part of the adventure as the trip itself.
That's so true. It's a great way to get the whole family excited and involved.
Right. And speaking of being involved, let's circle back to travel etiquette.
Oh, yeah, good point. We touched on it earlier.
Especially when traveling with children, it's so important to set a good example.
Absolutely. Like being mindful of our behavior in public spaces.
Yeah, kids can be loud and boisterous, so keeping their volume in check, especially in restaurants, museums, hotels.
And teaching them about respecting personal space.
Right. Not touching things that aren't theirs, waiting their turn in lines.
Those are important lessons.
Yeah.
And when interacting with locals, reminding them to be polite and respectful.
Exactly. Please and thank you go a long way.
So true. It's about teaching them to be aware of their surroundings and respectful of the people and places they encounter.
It's about fostering understanding and empathy.
Right. Travel is such a powerful tool for that.
Okay, now let's talk about some resources and tools that can actually help with planning.
Yes. Let's get practical.
We've got travel websites, apps, guidebooks, blogs, so much information out there.
It can be overwhelming.
Sites like TripAdvisor, Expedia, Booking.com.
Oh, yeah, those are classics.
Great for finding flights, accommodations, activities. You can read reviews, compare prices, even book your whole trip in one place.
Super convenient. And for those who are more visual, travel blogs and Instagram accounts can be great for inspiration.
Definitely. A lot of travel bloggers and influencers focus specifically on family travel.
It's like having a virtual friend who's already been there and done that.
Exactly. And don't forget about travel apps.
There's an app for everything these days.
Apps for navigating new cities, finding kid-friendly restaurants, even tracking your expenses.
Okay, I'm definitely downloading a few of those. But what about guidebooks? Are those still relevant in this digital age?
Absolutely. Guidebooks offer that in-depth information.
Yeah, like historical background, cultural insights, practical tips.
It's like having a mini encyclopedia in your backpack.
I love that. Sometimes you just can't beat a good old-fashioned guidebook.
And don't forget about tapping into your personal network.
Oh, that's a good point.
Talk to friends, family, colleagues who have traveled with children. They can offer firsthand insights and recommendations.
Yeah, sometimes the best travel advice comes from those who know us best.
Exactly. It's like having your own personal network of travel experts.
Okay, so we've got all these resources, but ultimately there's no right or wrong way to plan a family vacation.
Right.
It's about finding what works best for your family.
And creating a trip that's both fun and meaningful for everyone.
So true. Okay, let's talk about travel etiquette again.
Yeah, let's circle back to that.
How can we make sure we're being respectful travelers, especially with kids in tow?
It starts with being mindful of our behavior, especially in public spaces.
Yeah, like we talked about earlier, keeping those volume levels in check.
Right. And teaching them about respecting personal space.
Not touching things, waiting their turn.
Exactly. And when interacting with locals, reminding them to be polite and respectful.
Please and thank you, asking permission before taking photos.
It's about teaching them to be aware of their surroundings and respectful of the people and places they encounter.
And not just people, but the environment too.
Oh, good point.
Teaching them to dispose of trash properly, conserve water, respect wildlife.
Those are important lessons.
So by practicing good travel etiquette, we're creating a more positive experience for everyone
For ourselves, our children, the people we meet along the way.
and helping to create a more welcoming and sustainable world for future generations.
Absolutely. Okay, before we move on to our final segment,
Yeah.
I want to offer a final thought for our listeners to ponder.
Ooh, I like that. What is it?
We've explored all these different destinations and activities,
So many options.
but think beyond the specific locations.
Okay.
What are the underlying principles that make for a truly memorable family vacation?
That's a good question.
It's about finding destinations that foster adventure, wonder, connection.
Okay.
Choosing activities that allow you to learn, grow, and create those shared experiences.
So it's not just about the place, it's about the mindset.
Exactly. The destinations are just the backdrop.
Right.
The real magic happens in the moments you create together.
I love that. So as you plan your next family adventure,
Remember, the journey is just as important as the destination.
embrace the journey, create those memories, strengthen those family bonds.
And don't forget to have fun. Travel is a gift,
So true.
a chance to explore, learn, and grow together as a family.
It's all about embracing the adventure, creating those unforgettable memories, and most importantly, enjoying the journey together. Okay, so we've really dug deep into these affordable family vacations.
We have. It's been a lot of fun. Tons of great destinations, practical tips, even some like bigger picture stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I think we covered pretty much everything.
Hopefully our listeners are feeling inspired and ready to plan their next trip.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up completely, I want to touch on something that I think is important, especially when we're traveling with kids.
Okay, with that.
Staying healthy. Maintaining those healthy habits.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
It's so easy to overindulge on vacation, right?
Definitely. The treats, the relaxed schedule, it can be tough to stay on track.
Totally. But I think it's possible to find a balance.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like enjoying those vacation indulgences, but still making healthy choices.
Absolutely. It's all about moderation and mindfulness, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What are some tips that stood out to you from the sources?
Well, hydration is key,
Oh, yeah. Water, water, water.
especially if you're in a hot climate. Make sure everyone is drinking enough.
And we can pack those reusable water bottles, right?
Yes. Good for the environment and keeps everyone hydrated on the go.
Win-win. What about meals? Any tips for finding that balance?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay to enjoy those treats, like the ice cream or pizza,
Oh, for sure. Got to have those vacation treats.
but try to balance those out with healthier choices too.
Okay.
Incorporate fruits, veggies, lean protein, things like that.
So it's about making conscious choices, not depriving ourselves.
Exactly. Vacation should be enjoyable.
And don't forget about exercise.
Oh, yeah. Great point.
Vacation can be a great opportunity to be active.
Totally. Explore new destinations on foot, go for bike rides, swim in the hotel pool.
It doesn't have to be a crazy workout.
Right, even just a short walk or like a game of tag with the kids.
And let's be honest, active kids are happy kids.
Ah, so true. And the best part is, healthy habits don't have to be boring.
Yeah.
Make it fun for the whole family. Maybe turn meal planning into a game. Let the kids choose a healthy recipe.
Oh, I like that.
Have a family dance party in the hotel room, go on a scavenger hunt.
It's about being creative.
Exactly. And ultimately, remember that traveling as a family is about so much more than just checking things off a list.
Oh, yeah. It's about those shared experiences, those moments of connection and joy. So with that, I think we've reached the end of our deep dive.
Wow, that went by fast.
I know, right? We covered a lot of ground, from inspiring destinations to practical tips, even some philosophical musings on travel.
Hopefully our listeners are feeling inspired and ready to plan their next big adventure.
Remember, there's no right or wrong way to do family vacations.
Right.
It's about finding what works best for your family and creating a trip that everyone will love.
And don't forget to embrace the unexpected, those special moments. Just have fun.
Happy travels, everyone.